Within the last 2 hours, soldiers from the Light Dragoons have arrived back at their base in Norfolk from Afghanistan. Their return comes on the day the Ministry of Defence announced that 5 more soldiers had been killed in Helmand province. Mike Liggins is at the base at Swanton Morley. Mike.
Hello, Susie. It's been a happy and a sad day here at Swanton Morley, really. 80 men came home from Afghanistan today, but of course 6 Light Dragoons killed in action in Afghanistan didn't come home, and really those men and their families have been much on people's minds today. It was just after 5 when the coaches came back to Swanton Morley. The men fought back tears, most of the women just let them flow, while the kids kissed and hugged their dads and made up for lost time.
Absolutely brilliant. Can't believe it. Yeah. Didn't think it'd get you, but it has eventually.
How long have you been looking forward to it?
All the full 7 months.
Darren Wright took a long look at his baby daughter, Olivia. He hadn't seen her for 5 months. Has she changed?
A lot. She's got heavier.
Mum, pleased to see him back?
Oh, yeah. Words can't express how happy I am to have him home.
The Dragoons saw action in some fierce fighting against the Taliban. 6 men from Swanton Morley didn't come home today. For 6 families here, it will be anything but a happy Christmas. A short time ago, I spoke to the Light Dragoons commanding officer. That's Lieutenant Colonel Gus Fair. Pleased to be home?
Yeah, a little bit more than pleased, and hugely relieved, yes.
Mission accomplished?
No, the job's not done, but I think we're a long way down the track to something that resembles success, yes.
And I guess a lot of people's thoughts this evening are with the families of the soldiers who haven't come back today.
Yeah, no, inevitably. I think they're in the back of everybody's minds, not just those who sadly won't be receiving somebody through the door tonight. Yeah, no, I've lost 6 from the regiment, but I was commanding a battle group and lost 13 Brits and 9 Afghans, so we've all got a few names at the back of our minds this evening, or will do as we sit down for the first time on our sofas.
Afghanistan remains a hugely political issue. Kim Howells has said today we shouldn't even be there. What's your answer to that?
I mean, I have to say that I believe in the cause, because to take 700 men into a fight like Panther's Claw and then stay there without believing the cause would be crass. But actually, genuinely so, that what we've been asked to do is absolutely central. Stabilisation of Afghanistan, stabilisation of the region, future of NATO is not a small matter. And it's because of the significance of that we've been asked to go and soldier out there.
Thanks for talking to us. Enjoy your Christmas.
Cheers, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Gus Fair talking to me a short time ago. So 80 men have come home today, 80 more come home on Saturday. There's then a medal ceremony, a march through the nearby town of Dereham in early December. Back to you in the studio.
Mike, thank you.
Well, later in the programme, celebrations for the Red Bull Formula One team in Milton Keynes, and the latest instalment in the row.
A 6th former has been sentenced to 6 years detention after his car ploughed into a group of teenagers. 1 teenager was killed, 1 is in a coma, and at least 10 more were injured. The judge at Basildon Crown Court told 17-year-old Ben Gemmell his actions had ruined bright futures.
Ben Gemmell's Citroën C1 shortly after the crash, showing off he'd swerved towards one group of teenagers to frighten them, lost control and hit a second group. The speed of impact was 47 miles per hour, fast enough to push them through a brick wall. The crash tore the local community apart.
Everybody knew everybody, the parents all knew everybody, they're all students at the same school.
This is Ben Gemmell. He'd only passed his driving test 3 weeks before the crash, and he'd just seen a play about road safety in a school assembly. Ben Gemmell's mother held her head in her hands as he was sentenced. The judge told him, "Your actions have been like a large stone thrown into a calm pond. The ripples have gone out and out and out. The whole community has been affected by this." As Ben Gemmell was taken down to the cells, he glanced back at his family and wept.
Mr and Mrs Gemmell would like to add that the last months have been difficult for them and their family, but they appreciate that this is nothing compared to the suffering felt by the victims and their families. All of these people will remain in their prayers.
14-year-old Eleanor McGrath died. Outside court, a statement was read out on behalf of her parents.
No sentence will ever make up for the loss of our beautiful Eleanor Grace. We will be supporting Eleanor's friends who have set up the Driving with a Little Grace campaign to increase driver safety awareness in 17 to 21-year-olds.
The court had been packed with people involved. Another teenager, Jack Horton, has been left in a persistent vegetative state. The judge said bright futures had been ruined. Gareth George, BBC Look East.
It's become clear that delays in obtaining planning permission for the site of a former hospital could have cost the NHS more than £50 million. 2 weeks ago, in an exclusive report, Look East went onto the site of the former Severals Hospital in Colchester to show the extent of the neglect over the past 12 years. Today, the chief executive of the NHS Trust has been defending his record.
Well, the simple fact is we're not retaining the buildings. There is one protected building on site. It is in good condition. We make sure it is in good condition. That's an absolutely fundamental part of the site. For the remainder of the site, we have to retain the facade and roof line of what's known as the echelon building. It's the main building of the site. Any house builder will try and use that as part of conversions, but in reality that forms maybe 200 of 1,500 housing units on the site.
Let's just talk about the cost of maintaining the site. You've had security on there now for 12 years.
Correct.
You've got architects coming in to draw up outline planning permission and then more detailed planning permission, which are going to cost you hundreds of thousands of pounds. On a site which might make you less than 10 million, you must have spent £1 million already.
Collectively, the bill is probably over £1 million for the outline planning and the work that we've done in the last couple of years. But that's probably good money spent by the NHS.
It's good money spent, but if you'd actually sold it years ago, it might have been worth 80 to 100 million. You wouldn't have had to spend this money. I come back and ask you that question. Was it incompetent management in 97?
No, absolutely not incompetent management, and it is good money spent, because had we sold the land without planning application, we wouldn't have got a lot of money for it.
Well, shouldn't you have got planning permission quicker? In 97?
Well, in hindsight, I can't speak for the people who were around in 97, but certainly since I've been in the Trust from 2002, we've worked really hard and we got the planning application.
Deep in your heart, you must know. You must say to yourself, if only they'd sorted this out straight away.
I would love that to have been the case, but that's not the reality, is it? And I can only deal with what's in front of me at the moment.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
The biggest car park in Suffolk is to close for good less than 8 weeks before Christmas. The Crown Street car park in Ipswich has been closed for a month because it was deemed unsafe. The Borough Council has now decided to demolish it. Southend United Football Club has staved off the threat of administration at least for a few more days. At a High Court hearing in London, it promised to pay back more than £2 million in unpaid taxes by the end of the week.
He calls football a money game, and at the High Court today, Southend chairman Ron Martin was playing for high stakes. Last week, the opponents were Gillingham. Today, it was the taxman.
There was drama in Court 55 as Southend United was granted a last-minute reprieve. A barrister representing Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs told the judge about last-minute discussions just 5 minutes before the hearing, during which the club had promised to pay its debts in full. £2.1 million by Friday.
Ron Martin has blamed the debt on the club's relegation 2 years ago and the planned move to a new stadium. But some fans think he sacrificed short-term financial security for long-term ambition. Today, though, the chairman won a small victory.
They haven't gone into administration, so they haven't been docked 10 points, so they remain in the position which they're in. Had they been docked 10 points, they'd have been third from bottom in the relegation zone and 4 points from safety. So it may have only taken 5 or 6 minutes today, but as regards the future of Southend United, this is a massive day for them.
But if the taxman doesn't get that £2 million in the next 48 hours, Southend will still face the threat of administration. Joel Mapp, BBC Look East at the High Court in London.